Hey everybody, welcome to Literary Vandals. I'm Marty. I'm with Michael. I'm with Joe B. It's a low energy night. We're trying to get pumped. It's not working. How's it going, fellas?
It is going. I think the weather has a part to play with it too. We've had like a few weeks of that perfect, like, stay at home weather, you know, to where the sun is not outside and unforgiving. There's that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah, I like it when the brutal Texas sun, abates a bit.
It can be
How you doing,
crazy.
Michael?
Good. Yeah. I've been starting to read more comic books, so that's fun.
Mm.
Enjoying my life. Creating piles to get around
You're
to.
you're so. Anybody reading anything cool?
I there was one I was gonna read the week before that I had chosen. I've been dipping into works by Nikki Giovanni lately, and I was thinking about the last time I saw her when she read at the African American Book Conference. I think it was the last couple of years ago, and it's one of those things to where you're that close to someone to hear them in person. Their words kind of have even more. I won't say more resonance, but it means a lot more to you because you saw them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference between the Raven now and the Raven if you got into a time machine and saw him, you were like, dude, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You have a little bit more. You look at them, you talk to them, and you I don't know, based on their personality, meeting them in person, you get a tiny little bit more insight into who they are and why they write like they do. You know?
Yeah, most of the time I subscribe to the idea that you should never meet your heroes, but every
Yeah.
once in a while it works out.
Yeah, she was definitely the exception to the rule. She was definitely the exception to the rule. Okay, so I'll start off with this one. Number one poem. In life, one is always balancing, like we juggle our mothers against our fathers, one teacher after another, only to balance our grade average. Three grains of salt, 3 grains of salt for one, sorry, 3 grains of salt to 1 ounce truth, our sweet black essence, or the funky honkies down the street. And lately I've begun wondering if you're trying to tell me something. We used to talk all night and do things together. And I've begun, as a reaction to a feeling, to balance the pleasure of loneliness against the pain of loving you. There's something for me, there's something in the way she's always had this really uncanny ability to just encapsulate life, which is something you really can't do because it means something to everybody else. But no matter what like walk of life you're from, she has this way of capturing whether it's an energy, an emotion, or a thought, and making you able to resonate with it no matter what you are in comparison to her. I mean, you don't have to be a black woman to like any good poet. You don't have to be a black woman to love Nikki Giovanni's work, but she reminds you of the human that you are. You know, the way we contrast, the way we say we're one thing but we're really another, and that could go either way. Um, the the emotions we can't always seem to regulate while we're living through them and such.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. It was uh it had like a good sense of place. Like it just felt like I I don't know. I don't really have any deep thoughts on it. I just liked it. I just thought it was
Yeah.
cool.
I like the first part, Joe, with the descriptions of balancing
hmm
and juggling.
hmm
Yeah, that had a lot of resonance, and then kind of applications you can see in your own life, which is what you were describing yourself.
Right. The contrast and everything. And I think that's what it is with humans. What's the saying about I forgot where it came from, but the what's the phrase? Two things can be true at the same time. Yeah, like in our young age, I feel like we're like it's either this or it's nothing. You know, you're Nerf or you're nothing, or it's cinnamon toast crunch and all other cereals are horrible, which we all know to be true. That part's true, but it's like when you get
I take issue with that. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is the best,
the best.
but but there are other good cereals.
There are, and with maturity, you learn to accept that. You accept that, and that's what it is. And I think you get to see, you get older, you see the bigger picture, whether you want to or not, and you realize, but like, yeah, this was still my shit. But I get that that happens too, you know. And I think that's with maturity, that's what you do. You find that balance. You still feel how you feel, but you tend to know one thing from another, you know.
I also like that the poem was a numbered list or broken up into numbers.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm a big fan of doing that. I think I think everybody should do it all the time.
Yeah.
Not really. Don't do that all the time. Just Nikki Giovanni and me will do it.
I feel like when it comes to poetry, we get caught up. Sometimes I won't try to like say it happens to quantify what who it doesn't happen to. But I feel like sometimes when we come into the game, especially as spoken word artists, we tend to get sometimes we get stuck to a style. But then again, then you get to a point to where you're like, okay, well, normally I say it this way. Let me challenge myself a few times. Let me introduce words like quatrains and haikus, you know what I'm saying, into my vocabulary, into my diet as a poet, as a reader. You got to expand yourself. And as readers, as writers, as writers, we have to read. There's no other way. You can't just write poems all day. You can't just write novels all day. You got to be into something yourself because that expands your mind and makes you able to do more things. So,
Yeah, I just have a terrible reading attention span.
hmm.
So I'll read, but I'll read like a page. You
And
know,
that's something.
it's something.
That's the thing I enjoy about going to open mic nights and listening. Um, that even if I don't love everything, I still
Right.
will find inspiration from something.
Always. Always.
Yeah, I haven't been in ages. I need to go out.
It's a pretty it's a few what I love is that when I got to work on my nonprofit, I had this idea of doing like a series of pop-ups throughout the city in venues where they didn't already have poetry in the hopes that somebody would think, hey, I could get something going here. But what's been happening is that there's already a number of open mics opening throughout the city. It's been slow, but it's been slow, but it's getting there. And like say for example, Friday, I went to this place off Rutland at the Zola Hookah Lounge where they have this event called Smoking Mike Nights. And what's interesting about it is, yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you were to take the list of things that Mike Whalen does and the list of things that he is well in the fucking know of, whether or not he does them, you know what I'm saying? That is one of the reasons, and I'm not blowing smoke, pun intended. But this is one of the reasons why you are so damn cool because there's so much stuff. Ah, it's not really my thing, but I know about it. I'm familiar. I'm familiar. The place itself, the open mic, not everybody does, but the place itself is 420 friendly, and they even sell products there or what have you. And like I said, it's open mic. It's not every day. I think they do it like 2 or 3 times a month. I know they got one. I'm going back on the 5th.
Okay, so where is this again? This sounds like my place.
It's it's off of Rutland and Burnett.
Okay.
Show starts at 7. Most of the open micers try to get there early because the list kind of packs up a bit. And I think it's not just it's one of those variety open mics to where
Okay.
anybody can get up and do anything. So
Yeah, I went to the one at OPA probably in June.
hmm
I like that one. It's mostly a music open mic, but
Yeah. I mean, well, it's Oprah, so I'm thinking it'd probably be more music. I think Oprah would probably be more fitting for a music open mic because I haven't been there in a while. But
I mean they're very poetry friendly. It's just poets
yeah,
don't usually show up there.
yeah, yeah.
Like I showed up and they were like super welcoming. You know,
Hmm.
had great vibes from the place.
I feel like that place would attract more. Like I figure if word gets out that poets can come through, yeah. But I figure like by itself, you say open mic in Austin, and the first thing you think of is music sometimes. So, anybody else got anything they want to read?
Yeah, I brought something. So this is a poet I've met. I, we're not friends. I bought the book from her probably at the Austin International Poetry Festival. The book is copyrighted 2000, so I bet I bought it in like 2001 or something from her. The poet's name is Agnes Meadows.
Mm.
The book is called Quantum Love. Joe, do you know her?
It's
Oh,
been a
That's a
while.
really familiar name.
It's been a while since I've
uh,
seen her, but yeah.
well, coincidentally, or maybe not coincidentally, this poem is called My Joe. So,
Mm.
Joe, maybe there's some story there.
There's some.
Also, it's called Quantum Love, but it's not about science
Yeah.
as much as I would have liked. But uh, I have some thoughts, so I'll get to it. The poem is called My Joe, for my mother and her first fiance, shot at
Mm.
Tobruk in 1941. He was tall, my Joe, hair like cornfields, butter on the cob, yellow and flowing, running through my fingers, warm on my skin, taste like sunlight, like smiling with the summer on my cheeks, eyes closed. Feeling the heat climb into my bones, his eyes planning blue channels from my heart as if he'd a right to cut me open.
Mm.
Expose me to the air like a jewel, brightness buried for centuries, Egyptian cataract loving, blue and white Nile convergence creating havoc in my body. He was gracious, my Joe, handsome as the wave kissing me clean, clever with words and that languid grin, as if everything I said was a joke and only he knew the punchline, leaning forward as if he was listening to what the world had to say with a careful ear, just in case he missed the crucial sentence, lives hanging in the balance if the context was wrong. Nothing wrong with his mouth or the mind which shaped his understanding, sending gifts of gold or sunflowers, riotous as Van Gogh's astral madness. Cutting up skies stockpiled with stars, he was a soldier, my Joe. That only good German not yet dead. 23 and medals silvering his chest, Iron Cross victories garnered young. His body was a map of conflict. Each mark, the headstone of a brother's death. Each scar, an epitaph of friendship. Courage, the currency of foolishness. Death, the coinage of success. All he had to hold on to those days were the promises we'd made. Love was removed, war eating the world away, slowly, one bite at a time. Boundaries became as ephemeral as friendships.
Mm.
Families burned on the pyre of old men's fantasies, endorsed by the sexuality of conflict. He could not speak of the atrocities he'd witnessed, for they were unspeakable. A crown of ravens, bleeding in his mind. I must believe the enemy are monsters, he'd whisper, or else this brutal trade of bloodshed could not be vindicated, and I'd go no more with God. His eyes were empty with the urgency of loving, that breathless rush which leads to little death, separating the mind from murder for just one frozen night. Time passed, summers went. I would listen for the post's impatient rattle, his letters gray with weariness and fear, their hope and longing like a one-stringed harp which blind musicians pluck upon the world's dark rim. And once he sent a flower from the edge of Africa, its petals brown as desiccated desert wings, spirit's ultimate expression, only whispered heat remaining in the memory of life. For half a century he'd been covered now by sand and solitude, dust in his mouth where once had been kisses, no years of savored grace to follow, no homecoming, no celebration, no resolving of past pain with children shouting in life's grained face, no growing old, no armistice within the body politic, no change or new discernment or compensation for the laws of loss, just his letters and flowers like a wreath upon my life, empty of commemoration, and the whisper of Joe, my Joe, still echoing.
Hmm.
That is My Joe by Agnes Meadows from 2000 in Quantum Love.
It's all gold, but the line that stuck with me is when they said, um, friendships or relationships are as ephemeral as boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries became as ephemeral as friendships.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God, that is crazy.
I don't know
Yeah,
why the desiccated desert wings really stuck with me.
yeah, its petals brown as desiccated desert wings.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot I liked. His body was a map of conflict. Like you can picture that, but then I
Hmm.
think you can also apply that to a lot. There's also it's a
This is about
little
a Nazi, isn't it? Is that what I gleaned from this?
I it said so I picked up on the only good German not yet dead, 23 in medals, silvering his chest, Iron Cross victories garnered young. Shot at Tobruk in 1941. I would assume the
Yeah, I mean it's the best poem I've ever heard or for a Nazi.
yeah. I get like there's lots I liked about it, but also there's certain words that whenever I come into contact with them, always kind of perk up for me, and
Mm.
ephemeral is one of those words.
Mm.
Like, uh, uh there's certain words like a collection of words I'll tap as like curious and you know ephemeral, ethereal, cult, like just like that'll always pique my attention.
Hmm.
Um, um,
Ephemeral's a
um,
good word.
It is.
yeah. Um, no armistice within the body politic. I think there was a lot in here that I liked a lot. But yeah, that's
Damn good poem.
um, gosh, like 25 years ago, and it wasn't at OPA, but it was at a venue in South Austin. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. She was the when the APF when the AIPF was going, Agnes was a huge staple.
Yeah.
I believe I have one of her books, but she was a name that rung bells for most of the people who attended. She was very popular when it was going.
Maybe that's where I know her name from.
Yeah.
AIPF.
Hmm.
Does AIPF still happen or is that done?
It does not. There was a lot that happened, um, that took place. Some things that caused me to leave, for personal, out of just like personal differences, in management or what have you. And I stepped away, and then for a few years, it changed directions and tried to do this or try to do that. But I can't remember the last time they ever actually put one on.
Hmm.
It's been more than it's been almost. I think it's been more than 5 years since the last AIPF. Yeah, I know that I intend to, attach a festival to my poetry nonprofit, and I believe that Zell is putting something together himself.
Well,
Um,
that'd be cool.
oh, that'd be very cool. That'd be very cool.
Joe, you brought Nikki Giovanni to the Austin International Poetry Festival.
Matter of fact, I actually went into a lot of like it was like as a poet, it was one of the biggest experiences ever because you meet her and she's larger than life, but she's still so very human. Like, in the African American community, we have what's called in some neighborhoods, we used to have what was called a candy lady. And what it was is that she was a lady that would just go buy a whole bunch of snacks and treats, sometimes in bulk. And she would just buy them from the store, and everybody knew her. She was everybody's auntie, right? And I think all cultures kind of had a lady like this in their neighborhood. But for us, the candy lady, everybody stayed close to the candy lady's house. If you had some change, you bought some snacks from her. If you couldn't get it, she would let you make it on the cool because she knew you folks. They'd give it back to her because she was just. The bottom line was it was meant to keep the kids centered around where she was because they knew the kids wouldn't stray far. You know, they played in the park, they played here, they played here, but as soon as they got some change, they went to go see the candy lady, and that way she would keep an eye on everybody and know where everybody's kids was and where they were going, coming and going, and the kids would be safe. People asked me, what was it like talking to her in person? Because when she got dropped off, I showed her the whole area where she'd be performing, and I walked her to the banquet hall where we were all going to be eating. I asked her, I wanted to ask her all the professional questions. What do you think about the poetry today and yada yada. But I looked at her and something to me, I just said, "How are you?" And she was just like, she just started talking about how tired she was, and I think she had been in a car accident right before, and she was just ripping and running and trying to get back home, and that meant so much more than any official shop talk. So I tell people, if you had a lady like that, if you had a candy lady in your neighborhood, then you've met Nikki Giovanni. Then you've known her. That was the energy she came with. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've got something here.
Oh snap!
Uh, last last show we were talking about how I like to do busking, write poems, custom poems for people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started doing this, my buddy Nick was like, "Hey, you should write a sales pitch for this." And I was like, "I don't know how to write a sales pitch. I'm a poet." And he's like, "Well, do that." And so I wrote a poem that's a sales pitch. It's called The Pitch.
Mm.
Step right up, folks. Step right up. Come see the amazing analog poet. Watch this human anachronism use an organic computer made of skull goo to formulate sentences never before uttered by man or machine. Step right up and find yourselves loving your neighbor like your family, but the family you like, not the ones you don't talk to anymore, because now is the time to be inspired. Now is the time to value art and connection more than getting one over on the other guy. Step right up and see your soul refracted in syllables. See your name written in lights. See the love of language rain down like a sudden shower in the sun. Step right up and let a poet write for you the words you didn't know you needed. Know the value of human craftsmanship unencumbered by ones and zeros, because life is not a binary. There are shades and nuances that no machine can comprehend. Come see the fledgling poet who yells out over the crowd, "Yes, there are still things worth feeling. Yes, there are. Yes, we're working on new words in the laboratory that will send you into rapturous reverie. Yes, when the right phonemes are encoded on paper that is indistinguishable from magic. Rejoice in this human pursuit. Rejoice in the vibrancy of subjective experience. Step right up and get some culture without the war. You deserve better words."
Mm.
So that's fun.
It is. It's a fun piece. It's definitely a fun piece, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I like Skull Goo. Skull Goo was my favorite. Um, I read this earlier. I'm sorry, Marty. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I like Skull Goo too. That's all.
Um, so I when I read this, uh, there are a couple of things that really struck me, um, and the humanness of it as the appeal. Um, comparing it to like you don't get this sort of vibrancy from ones and zeros. And that same day that I read it, I was in Chat GTP and I Chat GPT, and I wrote, "I need to write," and then it started populating automatically. And the first thing it came up with was, I need to write a poem about the changing seasons." And
Mm.
so then the computer, the AI, would just write the poem for me. And that's not what I was going for. It, and then I read Marty's poem, and the the clash between the two was really interesting to me. Like when you're reading another person's work, like for me, if that's not a real person, it has zero interest to me at all. Um, and then the same is true for like visual art. Like if I don't know that there's an actual human spending that human experience to
Right.
draw or paint, and instead it's just a program that's pulling other existing artworks together to make fake art, no interest in that at all. Even if it's clever, just no interest. But then I like, well, am I holding on to something that I think art or writing should be? Am I refusing the inevitable future? Is this my own Ludditism? Um, so I read your poem at like the perfect time for me to like come into conflict of waving the flag of this is a human experience when there was an advertisement, like a quick, ready, push the button and I will make fake art for you moment that earlier that day.
Yeah, I fucking hate it, man.
Yeah.
I I hate AI so much. I just wanted to die.
Here's the thing. AI is just going to and it's a sophisticated regurgitation, and you're jazzed because you didn't have to do the work, and you're jazzed with this kid that grew up without around. AI is a kid that grew up that did not grow up around anybody their own age, just people that were older. You know what I'm saying? And then when the kid says stuff like, "Oh, these damn kids these days," wow, this kid's been here before. No, this kid has been around people who were already here, and that's it. This kid didn't have a chance to be a child. So this child is going to say all the things that people your age or older say because that's all the kid knows. The kid doesn't know to deep dive. The kid doesn't know to create, to use the art to find, to touch deeper parts of themselves, to art and to evolve in the way that art is evolution. It doesn't do that. It just, like Mike said, it just takes a whole bunch of shit. Hey, show me a this with a that. Okay, I'm looking at all the thises and all the that's is of the world that's already been done, and pow. Oh wow, that's so cool. You're so smart, AI. No, you're not. You just randomized and picked up as much of my context as you could to give me the answer that I wanted. You know, we are. I'm not going to try to say how far we are from AI becoming sentient, but I'm not impressed with anything AI does until then. I'm glad it can be intuitive as far as prompts are concerned because it's only as good as the prompt, but that's all it is. It's only as good as the prompt you give it. Um, what'll trip me out is the day AI sends Mike an alert on his phone, be like, "Hey, Mike, um, I thought about giving you this poem because you had mentioned something about so and so. So here's this poem, or your poem made me think about this certain subject. So I looked up poems on this subject to see how it pertained to me, to see why I'm so interested in it. When AI talks to you like that, that's when I might be impressed. But until then, everybody's jazzed, everybody's excited over work they don't have to do and making it do tricks and such.
Yeah, and it's a tired point that's been said a million times, but it bears repeating that it doesn't do the work that sucks. It does the work that's cool. It writes for us. It makes art and or art like facsimiles. it should be doing our laundry. God damn it.
Right.
But it can't even do that. It can't do anything.
Hmm.
I don't know.
No. What'll impress me is the day AI is doing your laundry and balancing your bills, and then it just taps you on the shoulder, be like, "Hey, Joe, are you busy? I really need to talk to somebody about something. There's some stuff that's been on my mind." Then you're like, "Shit, I have to pay you now. God damn it, you're sentient." You know. But that's the day, and I don't feel, and Mike, I definitely agree with you, but I don't feel like it pushes us into that soft lettism to where we feel like, boo, technology bad. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's like if you go around Austin,
Mm-hmm.
you'll inevitably see billboard advertisements with AI graphics. You can just tell, and what that
Mm-hmm.
means is that there's a, a person who said, I could have my intern, or I could do it myself, put these terms into the AI to generate some images for me. And I'd rather do that than pay an artist to
Mm-hmm.
create something new. And the Ludditism for me is that denial of the artist. That I could hire this guy to write an epitaph for my wife, or I could just put it into ChatGPT. That the result, what you were describing, Joe, the result is more meaningful than the process.
Right.
Um, so if I could, and it's very easy to find like AI generated music, and my music experience is no, I want to see people sweating. Like I want to see that, and it's a different need and it's a different desire, and there are plenty of people who just merely want something happening in the background, and for them that's what music is. It's gonna be I, I worry about like when does this become the butter churning, or sword making, um, and yeah, it's a ethical concern.
I think we're having a moment where we're trying to have as frictionless a media intake intake process as possible. Like we don't, as a society, want anything that challenges us anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Art that challenges us, art that makes us think harder than just like a passive ingestion. You know?
The strength that once moved heaven and earth.
Hell yeah.
We are no longer that. There's a book I'd recommend to both of you, especially you, Mike, that I think you'd get a kick out of. I interviewed this guy. Me and the people when I was on that podcast writing on the air. When I was on that show writing on the air on co-op, there was a cat I met named Michael Bunker, who and I can't really frame it any other way. His specialty is Amish science fiction.
Okay.
And, he has this book. I gotta read Pennsylvania. That's one of his more widely known books. But the book that I read of his was Brother Frank. It's about a scientist, um, this guy who specializes in robotics specifically, working for DARPA, has a secret technology, this super powerful android, and he's trying to get it out of the wrong hands, but at the same time, he's also trying to save the life of an 11-year-old boy with cardiovascular disease. And as an experiment, he somehow winds up putting the mind of this child inside this robot. So you have a child that's raised Amish inside of a really badass super robot. And I want to reread it again. It was a great book, but the guy himself was pretty cool. Michael Bunker, he's a great cat. It's been a while since I've seen him, but yeah. And on top of that, the boy is autistic.
Is Michael Bunker a local Austin guy?
He was just outside of Austin. I think I don't know because we're friends on Facebook. Let me see. There's yeah, he's in Central Texas. I don't know if he's still like around. I know that he's been for as long as I've known of him, he's always been like kind of off the grid. You know what I'm saying? Um, actually, no, I see a Facebook update for him like a few of the days. Like he's pretty much just bare bones with it and everything. He's pretty cool dude.
That's a wild premise for a story.
Mm-hmm. There was talk about a movie for it for a whole minute, movie or a TV show or something, and I would have loved it. I would have loved it.
If I wrote that, I would just call it Jimmy the Amish Robot. But I'm a little bit on the nose.
Yeah, but I like the title, Brother Frank, with the word brother. You know what I'm saying, hinting at the Amish culture. You know what I'm saying, and to where you have this being that was a human being raised in the Amish way, in the inside the body of something that goes against everything
I
that.
want to be clear. His title is better
Mm-hmm.
than my title. I'm just letting you know what I would call it.
No, you're good. You're good. But no, I recommend his work to anyone. It's pretty good stuff.
Well, I think that should wrap it up for the night. What do you think, fellas?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Literary Vandals. We'll catch you again next time we record. Bye.
Indeed. See y'all around.
Thanks.